of different issues, and we want to be able to provide you with all of the necessary information. I want to begin as it relates to our finances. My permanent secretary, Mr. Vladimir Prasad, who is our accounting officer at the ministry, would have indicated to me that as of noon today, out of our total budget, which would have also included our supplementary provisions that we received during the year, our total budget would have been $193,430,299,114. That would have been our total budget for 2023. Our expenditure as of noon today is $168,489,333,818, which shows an overall performance in terms of implementation of 87%. 87%. The shortfall, you may inquire at a later stage, of which the permanent secretary will indicate, and that's largely due to our foreign funded programs. Please be reminded that the ministry operates through 3 programs in terms of our budget cycle. Program 311, which is Policy Development and Administration. Program 312, Public Works. Program 313, Transport. In 2023, the Ministry of Public Works managed 2,852 projects. And I repeat for emphasis, 2,852 projects were managed by the Ministry of Public Works during the year 2023. You will recognize that that is no small order. I did say in Parliament, when we were talking about the supplementary provisions, that the budget for one item, miscellaneous roads, is larger than the entire ministry's budget in 2019. So the growth of our portfolio here at the Ministry of Public Works is multiplied times over, because while the entire budget as of 2019 was about 38 billion, this year miscellaneous roads alone was 56 billion. So that would show the growth. The ministry is engaged in a number of transformational projects. And sometimes that is the only thing that the media is interested in. The call will be what's happening with the New Harbour Bridge, the Quarantine Bridge, the highway. But apart from these transformational projects, there are thousands of other projects across the country by hundreds in various regions that the government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Public Works, have been implementing to bring real impact as it relates to the improvement of the lives and livelihood of the citizens. And I think this is a good place for me in this press conference this afternoon to express thanks first of all, to Cabinet, His Excellency, the other members of Cabinet, for trusting our team here at the Ministry of Public Works, because that's what we are, and that has been the emphasis. There's no one-man show here. We are a team, and we work together as a team, for trusting the team to implement what we are implementing. And I would also like to put on the record here at this press conference my deep appreciation for every member of our team. My colleague, the minister within the ministry, Minister Indar, the Permanent Secretary, the DPS, Mr. Ron Rahaman, who's the head of our Work Services Group, Mr. Colin Gittins, who is the head of the Special Projects Unit, and all the various program heads, miscellaneous roads, urban roads, hinterland roads, bridges, city fences, and the agencies that are seated behind. We want to express our thanks to them, and by extension to all the staff. This year, the people at the Ministry of Public Works did not just work, they worked. So you can put it that way. Minister Edgell says the people at the Ministry of Public Works did not just work, they worked. Late hours, long days, Saturdays, Sundays, late at night, rain, shine. We took the calls, we responded to the requests, and we delivered. And I would like to say a big thank you to all the staff in all of the agencies of the Ministry of Public Works. I would like to go through a number of items. I start with, again, the Civil Aviation Authority. The Guyana Civil Aviation Authority continues to be our regulatory authority as it relates to aviation in Guyana. And the year 2023 would have seen enhanced activities. 2024, however, for the Civil Aviation Authority will be a very important year, because that is the year we will be subject to an ICAO audit. The International Civil Aviation Organization will be conducting an audit of Guyana's regulatory body in 2024, and work are ahead to ensure that we do well in that audit. The aviation sector did not just merely see the increase in airlines in 2023. Sometimes we write Canadian Jet Lines, or Fly Always, or we name the new airlines that are operating. But we have also seen an increase in the number of aircraft that is operating. So it's one thing to have more airlines, but particularly at our local operators. And I think they need to be recognized for their confidence that they are showing in the industry and the investments that they are making. We have imported, or I should say we have given permission to import, and the authority has inspected and granted airworthiness certificates to a number of new aircraft. We've had at least 4 in 2023.
3 of those were helicopters, which is becoming a constant request, and we are importing more and more helicopters. We have just a few days ago approved 2 new Cessna Caravans for air services, that is bringing in 2 new Caravans. And we've also, early in the year, approved another caravan. So more and more aircraft are coming in to the country. Our safety oversight has been significantly boosted. We now have an additional 4 aviation safety inspectors, and they were delegated to facilitate safety oversight of our civil aviation system, 2 flight operations inspectors, and 2 air navigation service inspectors. We currently have inspectors in training at flight operations, aerodromes, and aviation security inspectors. The training is continuing, and we will be increasing our capacity in 2024. We continue to renew and issue what is called air operator certificates, whether it's a foreign
Aircraft that operate here or local operators. We have continually, at the GCA, continued to inspect our aerodromes. It's one thing to have a safe aircraft, but we also have to have safe aerodromes. And a little later, I will probably talk about what we're doing in terms of our hinterland airstrips. But the Civil Aviation Authority has been able to do that. Just to remind, because you have reported on that, this year we have also received British Airways that have started to operate, and also Canadian Jet Lines, which started in September, and apart from the commercial traffic that we see coming on a daily basis, 440 itinerant operators or permits were issued to itinerant operators. This will be mainly for people transporting passengers, private jets that are coming in, business executives that are coming for meetings, and medical evacuations, among others. So our aviation sector has been quite busy, and one of the things that I'd like to announce is that the Civil Aviation Training School, was significantly upgraded with a major training simulator. I had an opportunity to look and see how it is working. Both the hardware and the software was upgraded, and our intent is that the Civil Aviation Training School in Guyana will eventually emerge as the premier place to train aviators in the Caribbean. We have a top-notch civil aviation training school that is doing exceptionally well. I want to move on to the Kanawaima ferry service. Not too many people in the media or pay attention to Kanawaima. But that vessel that operates between Guyana and Suriname, between Molson Creek and South Green, from January to November, they moved 44,489 passengers. Sometimes we just look, let's put this go across here, and we didn't realize the volume. Almost 45,000 passengers. They have made 538 round trips, which is more than just once daily, as you can see. And they have moved 14,466 vehicles across the Quarantine River. And for the persons who would have interest in the Quarantine River Bridge, at a later time when we talk about that, bear in mind these numbers of what is happening with our border, Guyana and Suriname. The Transport and Harbors Department just a few days ago, while defending our supplementary provision, I spoke about the improved service at the Transport and Harbors Department. One of the things that we need to remind ourselves is that people no longer have to line up and wait at Perica and at Supernam or at Martica. The online booking
system is working exceptionally well, and it has brought satisfaction to farmers. There's greater predictability. Passengers, vacation goers, people who want to get into the Essequibo to enjoy, they can book and they can get there. There's greater predictability. For the year to date, we have moved 481,648 passengers. 481,648 passengers. We have moved in our various routes 106,627 vehicles. These numbers should cause us to reflect that the service of Transport and Harbors Department is not just an old service that some old people use because of the water taxis that plague these very same routes. The water taxis are there, but look at these numbers. 481,648 vehicles, 106,627. Now this is all class of vehicles. In terms of cargo, we have moved 195,623 tons of cargo. So this is very interesting, and we appreciate the hard work that the people at Transport and Harbors have been putting in there. As it relates to the Essequibo traffic, which seems to be the one of interest because of what takes place there. In 2023, we moved 472,723 passengers. We moved 106,397 vehicles and 182,055 tons across the Essequibo. The Northwest, with the coming on board of the MV militia. I was pleasantly surprised. Quite recently, there was a complaint that the boat to the Northwest departed late, and somebody posted it up on social media because that seems to be a trend. But they didn't tell the whole story. The boat was late because it was the second boat that was being loaded for the Northwest on the same day. We had just sent off the MV Barima, and then we loaded the MV Militia and departed. One for Port Kaitumo, one for Mabaruma. Two boats to the Northwest in the same day. Compare that to when we took over government in 2020. That a boat would sometimes go once a month, at most fortnightly. We're now having weekly service and now moving to two boats on the same day. And that is what we are continually seeking to do with our service at the Transport and Harbors Department. I would like now to turn my attention to the Maritime Administration Department, or MARAD as it is called, MARD continues to play a very important role in terms of its regulations of what happens on our waterways, and more specifically as it relates to what is happening in terms of oil and gas. Guyana is pursuing a very aggressive development agenda. And our development agenda is geared towards benefiting the lives of people everywhere. The PPPC administration wants to prosper Guyana for all Guyanese. And that is why our One Guyana mantra is not a joke. When I told you earlier that this year we managed 2,800 plus projects in all 10 administrative regions, that can clearly give you an idea of the scope of what we're doing. MARD continues to play its role. This year we saw between now and November, between January and November, we saw a significant increase in vessel traffic. Last year, it was 2,824 vessels. As of November this year, it's 3,110. A 15% increase in revenue that was garnered as a result of that, and a 10% increase in terms of vessels. We continue with the removal of wrecks, things that we don't see, but there are a number of sunken ships, vessels, tugs in the channel and in the waterways that our mariners have to use, and we continue to make our waterways safe by the retrieval of wrecks. We had Kool from the Netherlands, who successfully removed 3 major wrecks in 2021 and 2022, and they were awarded another contract in the sum of $1.38 billion to remove a further 17 wrecks and obstructions. And so far, they have removed 7 in the current campaign in 2023. This will roll over to continue the removal of these wrecks in 2024. So we are creating a safer waterways for our ships and other mariners who are operating. This year we installed or constructed 32 beacons in the Essequibo River that is aids to navigation to improve safety. And that was in addition to the 15 that was built in 2022. So we doubled our capacity in 2023. We also have a contract that has been awarded for the construction of another 28 beacons, and that will be for the Demerara River, from Georgetown to Linden, a waterway that is being more used now than ever before. And these beacons will allow for 24 hours navigation in our waterways, and this will also lend direct support for our gas to energy project. Our newly acquired pilot boat, the Arapaima, was delivered in March 2023, and that was already reported on. The President himself went there for the commissioning of that boat. And just to remind you that the pilot boats are important, because every ship that comes into our channel, our local pilots need to take those ships out, but we also need to go out and bring them in. And it's the pilot boat that takes the local pilots out and bring them in. And when you don't have a pilot boat and you have a lineup of vessels out there that would have happened before, everybody who is lined up waiting to come in is incurring demurrage. And it sends the cost of shipping up. And that will impact the prices on the market, and then that will impact cost of living. So sometimes some people, you talk about a pilot boat, what does a pilot boat do? It's a little intervention to increase efficiency that reduces cost, that impacts right down to the sardine and the corned beef price.
that is on the table are the sausages and everything that is important. And there are times we need to talk about how government's policy and investments impact directly and benefit the lives of people. Because we're not just saying we're doing things, but how does it impact the lives of people is what really matters. We continue to do dredging, and this is a big job because of the whole location of Guyana, the conditions of our sea, the desilting, the mud that comes in with the tide, and the Stephen continues to do dredging. We have done more than 392,000 cubic meters of spoil we have removed to facilitate. They had to do a lot of work in the Pomeroon. They had to do a lot of work in the Guyanese region to facilitate the MV militia. We just recently awarded a contract for a new tug, a supply tug, and this will help in our dredging operations. And this will be used to tow the crane barge, the seamount, and the split barge to dredge the difficult areas, and also will assist in emergency towage of other operations. The main ship channel, which is the Demerara River, has been dredged to a 10-meter depth and widened to 100 meters. And of course, you will recall, this was done by the contractor Handinol for the Freedom Hoop shore base, which came into operation recently. So right now the Demerara channel is deeper and wider, so we can get two-way traffic. And that makes a big difference. The third FPSO is now in operation, which is the Prosperity, and they have to be permitted to operate in Guyanese EEZ. They came on board from April 1, 2023, and it subsequently produces first oil in November 14, 2023. We continue to work with communities. So it's not just big oil and what's happening out in our EEZ, but safety in our waterways. No matter where the water taxis are operating. So we continue to license, inspect, and MARAD has gone beyond just licensing and inspecting. And they've actually been distributing safety gear to operators. Quite recently, we did that in Muritario and Malali in the Demerara River, where we were able to issue out 100 and 140 life jackets respectively, so that people could be able to move safely. We continue to build capacity among our emergency operations to respond to emergencies. And we participated in the exercise Trade Winds, which was from the 17th to the 20th of April this year, where our personnel was able to receive significant training dealing with issues of oil spill, flood management, and the rest of it. Our ship registry has been active, and there was an increase in the number of applications and license issued. We did 189 in 2023 as compared to 121 in 2022. So there are more ships that are licensed through our ship registry. And we now have 440 vessels licensed operating in our waterways as compared to 432 in 2022. There was also an increase in the number of certificates of registration. We had 43 in 2023 as compared to 35 in 2022. And this is basically because of what's happening in the oil and gas sector. Port security is high in the agenda, and our port security section completed its annual port security compliance verification inspection between May 4, 2023 and June 20, 2023. 18 regulated port facilities were inspected, while 5 potential regulated port facilities were also inspected. One of the initiatives that we did is that we established a register of all seafarers. And that registry supported over 50 Guyanese and foreign seafarers in various areas such as outstanding wages, people who were abandoned, their welfare and well-being, and we had to send some of them back home because the people they worked for just abandoned them here, and there was no way of getting out. That registry also issued 724 discharge books, 30 safe mining certificates, and 35 recognition and endorsement. We move on. Guyana National Shipping Corporation Limited. I just came from an end of year activity there that was started at 1 o'clock. But the Guyana National Shipping Corporation has done well in 2023. Their revenue base grew by 32%. Revenue coming in at the Guyana National Shipping Corporation grew by 32%. Let me just give you a scorecard of their operational efficiency. They handled 509,321 tons of cargo. 72% above what was budgeted. They're much busier than they are right now. All the new cars you're seeing on our roadways are coming through the National Shipping Corporation. The aggregate coming from various ports to support our modernizing and construction boom is coming through the National Shipping Corporation. The men and women out there work beyond the call of duty. Just to give you an idea, we had 139 vessels that were either discharged or loaded this year. 30% more than what was done in 2022. And they acted as port agents for 250 vessels that came into the country that they were the agents for. The main items that we were dealing with at the National Shipping, aggregates, steel, cement, fertilizer, bulk sugar.
And to give you an idea, as it relates to the importation of cars, because some of you might want to do that, we handled 5,558 vehicles at the Guyana National Shipping for the year 2023. And that explains what's been happening, why the series have been changing that fast. We go now to the Demerara Harbor Bridge. This year, if there's an agency that needs to get a prize for commendation, it's the Demerara Harbor Bridge. Why? It was the year when they had the most difficult proposition to the people of Guyana, and that was to the closure of the bridge, to remove the damaged span line and replace it. And you will recall they did that successfully even before the time that was announced. And we congratulated them. But apart from Span 9, they were busy in terms of the work that they were doing on the bridge. They replaced 9 transom beams. They had a rehabilitation and installation of 95 buoys. They rehabilitated 56 pontoons. Those are the pontoons that the bridge is on. 56 of those were rehabilitated. With the damage that the trucks do with the speeding on the bridge, they had successfully replaced 77 end posts. We had to do replacement and installation of 239 lengths of wire ropes connected to the buoys. We had to replace 175 lengths of anchor chains, and the replacement and installation of 204 anchor blocks. And a lot of this work that they're doing is to keep the bridge, that the thousands of people that depend on that bridge every day, that they can get to work, get home, they can do their business. But I want to also highlight to you, during this year, we were able to effect the emergency lane as well as eastbound traffic. We were able to get completed that extra lane when you exit the bridge to be able to get onto the East Bank Highway, because we had collaboration with the church. We were able to get some land, and we were able to put that in place. The Demerara Harbor Bridge has been playing its role because they were licensed as a master apprentice training center, and they are training welders at the Harbor Bridge. Some of them will eventually find their way in the oil and gas sector. If one boat hits the bridge, it makes the news. But this year, so far, a total of 4,035 vessels transited the bridge without incident. You heard the number? Not just the one that hit sometime before, but 4,035 transited the bridge. 49.8% of those were northbound, and 50.2% were southbound. Significantly, to improve service to the people of Guyana, 97% of the retractions at the bridge for marine traffic occurred at night. Only 3% occurred during day hours. And this 3% largely had to do when we had to either have an emergency opening for fuel or tug and barges that we don't allow during the night because of the last calamity that we have there. So, with tidal conditions, with prudent management, collaboration of all of the stakeholders, we have been able to put in place systems, and the bridge is only open to marine traffic while people are either asleep, traffic is at a low, and during the peak hours we continue to serve. We had an 8% increase in ocean-going vehicles that transited the bridge. And in terms of tug and barges, an overall increase of 86.9%. As of November 2023, approximately 8,348,000 322 vehicles have transited the bridge in both directions. That's an increase of 28% over 2022. And I'm sure we are thinking we badly need the new Demerara River Bridge, which will be a 4-lane bridge that will see improvement in how people can get in and out, thanks to the Demerara Harbor Bridge. The asphalt plant, sometimes considered the stepchild, but without a proper functioning asphalt plant, we would not be able to provide the services. This year, the asphalt plant surpassed its production target. They had budgeted to do 49,000 metric tons, and so far for this year, they've actually done 94,840 metric tons. And that would also tell you about the road project and the amount of roads that are being done, because this is an important component of road construction. Because of this volume, we've had to be able to get alternative bitumen suppliers. They've also been able to get their new administrative building and their lab testing facilities built and improved, and they're doing much better. The Government Electrical Inspectorate. The only time people remember there's such an entity is when they have to get hooked up to electricity and they realize that they have to get their certificate. But for this year, the Government's Electrical Inspectorate has been busy. They have issued 14,060 certificates, which means business, commercial, as well as private dwellings. They have done more than 14,000 inspections and have certified these homes for connection to electricity. We have now a fully computerized electrical contractors portal, which is implemented in all 10 regions, and there are a total of 267 registered electrical contractors currently using the system. There are 49 representatives from 9 different electrical utility companies that are registered currently using the online system. And this report that I'm giving you ties in with what government has been doing in terms of the ease of doing business. You will recall that one of the complaints that people had was the time it takes to get electricity if you're starting up a business or you have a new home. And the Government Electrical Inspectorate is one of those units that has to play its role. The Chelijagan International Airport is one of the agencies that we're pretty proud of. During the month of December so far, we have moved 64,136 passengers, comparing with 59,354 last year. And that's of now, the reporting period. To date, for the entire year, we have processed 729,680 passengers, an increase of 72,000 or 11% more than what was traveled last year. So we're seeing growth, and we're looking forward for the 1 million mark very soon. And that will come as a result of us boosting our tourism potential and us continuing to use Guyana as a hub to connect the Caribbean and South America, attracting other airlines. So we look forward to welcome others, and I will make those announcements today, like we did with British Airways and Canadian Jet Lines. In terms of cargo, we did 11,126,217 kg as compared to 8,923,898 last year, an increase of 25%. Cargo imports increased by 25%, due mainly to importation in the industrial supplies for the oil and gas sector. And just recently, we have offered our no objection for another cargo carrier to operate scheduled cargo services to Guyana. But our business with the rest of the world is also increasing through the CGIA. Exports increased from 1,599,793 to 2,319,024 kg, a 45% increase. And this is as a direct result of shipment of agro-industrial supplies. So it's not just stock. The Ministry of Agriculture, the government's agricultural plan, is making its impact even in the export sector. We managed 4,316 landings at the Chedijegan International Airport. I repeat, we managed 4,316 landings, an increase of 4% over 2022. Jet aircraft landings increased from 4,144 to 4,316. And this increase was mainly due to the addition of British Airways, Canadian Jet Lines, and increased airlift by Suriname Airways. In terms of the capital projects, and some people seem to be excited every time they hear about a project at the Chedijegan International Airport, and we erroneously report that after 150 million US they're still spending. It's not the truth. The 150 million project for the Chedijegan International Airport, which was executed by the Chinese, is completed. Completed. I repeat, completed. These are other things that we are doing to continue to modernize and improve the airport. An inline baggage handling system will be installed as an addition. You know, one of the complaints, and I visited the airport to check to see what's going on, people clear immigration. I've looked at that, and I want to commend the Commissioner of Police and the Immigration Services. It was 4 or 6 new desks that was added for the Christmas season. 4 new desks. So people, an entire flight with 180 passengers was cleared in about 33 minutes, 27 minutes. They have done well. But where we're having some difficulty is with getting the baggages and the handling of the baggages. And we have to work on improving that. We successfully passed our TSA audit, as we've been doing, and we want to keep it that way. So security and all of the challenges at the airport we're continuing to work for. 2024, we have greater plans. Finally, I come now to the work services group, which is where people in the media seems to want to have details about this road and that road and the rest of it. Now, I have in my hand the government office complex. These are 4 towers that will have the capacity to hold about 6,000 staff, and it will be built on 20 acres of land, 1 kilometer east of the second roundabout, which is what people call now the Jaguar roundabout, the one that have the fountain. And this is a major project. You will have heard us discuss this at Parliament, and provisions have been made. We have actually moved the location to give us a better deal and a better service. You know what that means? Rather than people running from different places to get service from an agency, several agencies will be in one complex. So when you drive there and you park and you come out, you could get several services done. Construction is due to begin in the first quarter of 2024. In terms of bridges, most of us only see the bridge at Broad Street and the Avenue of the Republic that was broken. And sadly, after it was broken and we actually stopped people so we could get it going, people removed the bars and continued to use the broken bridge. And very interestingly, ladies and gentlemen of the media, the mayor of the city wrote me to inform me that the bridge is broken, as if there is no role for the mayor and city council. And that seems to be a developing trend. But the Ministry of Public Works answered the call. The bridge is now completed. I think the only thing that needs to be put on now are the rails. And Bass Aluminum and Cast Iron Foundry is completing the fabrication, and installation should be done. But the structure, solid structure of the bridge to handle the tonnage of those wide and long, heavy laden trucks can continue to go again. So we have done 16 pedestrian bridges in the coastal regions. We have done 25 steel and concrete composite bridges. And we are doing 45 composite bridges along the Linden-Lethem Road. So sometimes people only see the one that is heavily trafficked and broken. And by the way, I'm saddened. Today I got images, and maybe members of the media could help me with this. The Lady Denham Bridge, which is the bridge you move from Madhya to Bartika in the interior. It's broken because someone moved an excavator across it, which is too wide for the bridge and too heavy for the bridge. And this is something that we have to address. While we are building and improving Guyana, we have to beg our citizens, our users, our truckers, the businessmen, the miners, everybody. You know, the old people say you can't be building with one hand and brocking with the other hand. We got to improve Guyana, and we got to do this together. So when I saw those images of the Lady Denham Bridge, a bridge that got historical value, built long before some of us was born, and it's a unique structure. I went there myself with former Prime Minister Sam Hines when he was doing one of his several tours across the hinterland regions. Beautiful structure. But because one unscrupulous person who probably want to get his excavator on the other side to get some gold or get something done, don't care about anybody else, it's now broken. We have to now go and fix that. The 45 bridges along the Linden, Lethem Road, 32 from Kurupakari to Letem and 13 from Abura Hill to Kurupakari is ongoing. Some have been completed and others are expected to be completed in the first quarter of 2024. We are currently under this program doing 98 bridges and culverts, preparing for the widening of the Palmyra to Molson Creek Road, which will become a 4-lane road. And we have completed the 2 pre-stressed concrete bridges at number 58 Road, which is the road that was built from the Quarantine Highway heading in to the Kanji Creek. So we continue to deliver. Roads, farm to market access roads. We have built 14.6 kilometers of farm to market access roads in Big Baibu, Sand Hills, IR3 to Abari. In hinterland roads, we have done a total of 15.4 kilometers of rigid pavement roads. This is what we're calling the concrete roads in regions 1, 7, 8, 9, and 10. In terms of asphaltic roads in the interior, we have done 14.128 kilometers of paved asphaltic roads in regions 1, 7, 8, 9, and 10. In terms of laterite roads, we have done 411.218 kilometers of laterite road, and we have done maintenance to 123 kilometers of roads in the hinterland, continuing to serve the people of the hinterland. Public and main access roads, Cemetery Road and Conversation Free Road are 2 that has created some interest. Work should have been completed in 2023. The project is significantly behind time, which is of concern to us. The contractor has received a revised deadline of January 2024 to complete this road. And I could say it here and then, if January end comes and this project is not completed, the contractor will be removed from the project and we will get a proper contractor or a dedicated contractor to complete it, or the special projects unit. The Cemetery Road is too much of an important road for us to have this going like that. It's not one of our proud moments of 2023 at all. Conversation Tree Road, Lot 1 is progressing satisfactorily. However, significant delays have been experienced at Lot 2. The contractors also received a revised deadline. And if Lot 2 is not completed as well, for the people who've been asking, that's a contract with Calco, they will be removed from the project and we will complete it. These are 2 important thoroughfares that we can't allow to languish like this. We've done another 5.48 kilometers of asphaltic road at canals number 1 and 2. In Blackbush Polder, we have done another 3.047 kilometers of asphaltic roads. Miscellaneous roads are what we want to call community roads. In terms of our miscellaneous and urban roads, we have done 349.3 kilometers and 798 were rigid pavement, and 483 were flexible pavement. In terms of urban roads, we have done 9.9 kilometers. 58 of those were rigid pavement, and 8 was flexible pavement. A total of 359.2 kilometers, or a total of 854 rigid pavement, and 491 flexible pavement roads. The Special Projects Unit. The Special Projects Unit has performed exceptionally well in 2023, and you would have heard me in Parliament a few days ago saying that the monies that we are seeking is to ensure that we could have several teams operating simultaneously. So 2024, we will be able to do more. The Special Projects Unit would have done a total of 108 roads, or 33.396 kilometers of roads. And they have done work in Queenstown, Albertown, Kingston, Campbellville, Fowles, Enterprise, Melanie South, Nonpareil, Collegian, Nonpareil, Block 12, Strathspey, Oval, Haslington North, Strathspey, Area G, Enmore, Sheriga Scheme, and Eccles. River and sea defenses. We have done, in terms of new flood protection structures, 5.5 kilometers of work. In terms of rehabilitation and maintenance, we have done 65 kilometers of sea defenses. They say no news is good news. Well, the good news about our sea defenses is that in 2023, because of the rigorous approach and the volume that we've been doing, none of you had to report major breaches. And we commend the Sea and River Defense Department for the great work that they were doing. When we build sea and river defenses, it's not just seawalls so people don't chill. But that means we have more lands that are available for people to plant. We have more families that could go into poultry. We have more people could develop their houses. So what we do in sea and river defenses, keep the water out, but link that now with what happens to people's lives and how the confidence they could have to go and invest and build and develop. And we have done work across the country. Abram Zules Equibo, Uniform, Leg 1 Island, Anna Katrina, West Coast Demerara, Friendship, East Bank Demerara, Weldad, and Washington, West Coast Berbice, Wellington Park and Eversham, Quarantine, Spikeland, Linden, and along the Mahika-Maikoni shoreline between Baijival and Essex. New riprap structures were also constructed. The Sea and River Defense Board, of which we mourn the loss of Brigadier Gary Beaton, who chaired that board, continue to work very hard to get policy direction implemented and provide permits, and at the same time to provide some of the supervisory work that is required to do coastal monitoring and our data management of what's happening with our shoreline. One of the things that we have been able to do is that we have been able to use drones. I called Mr. Samad on Boxing Day, complaining to him about the recklessness of the vendors on the seawall and the volume of garbage which was left there. I was physically inspecting it, but he was able to get images from his drones to confirm to them that the minister ain't just talking hot water. This is in front of your business, look what's going on here. And it's the same approach that we've been able to take to monitor our sea defenses, while we have rangers that physically walking flat-footed to check what's going on. We'll also be able to benefit from the drone technology. Our waterfront development is second to none. Whether it's Kingston Seawall, behind the Marriott, Berbice, Riverton, Linden, and we continue to make investments. So the Sea and River Defense Department would have been able to do very well. You would recall that at the last sitting of the National Assembly, we tabled the historic for first reading, the Sea and River Defense Bill, which will be debated in the new year, which provides the framework of how we will go forward as it relates to the development of our sea and our river defenses. Our hinterland airstrips. We've got work ongoing at Ikiriku, Carisparrow, Iteringban, Purima, Mabaruma, and Monkey Mountain. The work at Mabaruma has been completed. The work at Ikiriku and Carisparrow and Iteringban should have been completed, but they're not, and we expect that they will be completed first quarter of 2024. Purima and Monkey Mountain were contracts that were awarded in 2023 that is rolling over for completion in 2024. Let's talk about the transformational projects. Yesterday, His Excellency visited, and every newspaper in Guyana have reported of the progress that is being made on the new Demerara River crossing. We expect to get this bridge in on time. And if you compare what we've been doing with our transformational projects, and I encourage every member of the media to go back to the PPP's manifesto and see what we would have promised and compare it to what we are delivering, you will notice two things. One, you could conclude that President Ali and the PPPC administration, when they promise something, they fulfill it. And secondly, there is even do more than they promise, because some of the things that we are doing are beyond what we have promised. So the new Demerara River Bridge continues to go. We are pleased to let you know that very early in the new year, this is not a campaign promise, Mr. Shibral, it's not in this. The new 4-lane bridge at Wisma to link Mackenzie and Wisma will begin work. Monies have been provided, contractor identified, and we are ready to go. Not a campaign promise, but we've gone beyond. Quarantine River Bridge. I'm happy to report to you that the procurement process of the Quarantine River Bridge is being completed. The signed joint evaluation of both countries are before a team, the two ministers of foreign affairs, the two ministers of finance, and the two ministers of public works. And once that evaluation report would have been agreed and the way forward declared by that joint team, the two presidents will then announce the start of the work on the Quarantine River Bridge. Good news to the people of Guyana. Linden-Mabura Hill Road, another transformational project. Physical progress is at 25%. We expected that they would have been further. The time elapsed is 50%. So half the time for the construction, but they're only at 25%. You have to get on with the job. They've completed 2,845 meters of drains, 18,960 meters of cement stabilized sub-base, 16,900 meters of cement stabilized base, and 16,330 meters of asphaltic concrete binder course. You got to keep moving. You got to get this in on time. So in 2024, we expect to see accelerated. And when I told you our expenditure was at 87%, this is part of the shortcomings, because we budgeted for more because we anticipated more work being done, but the contractor did not perform. East Coast Road upgrade, which is the Sheriff Street to Mahaika. More people are concerned right now about the traffic jams that they experience because of the current work. I'd like to appeal for patience. The reason why we are doing the work is to make sure you can get to work and home faster. The current inconvenience is regretted. It will be a 4-lane road from the Sheriff Street roundabout all the way out to Orange Nassau, and then we are upgrading the road from Belfield all the way to Mahaika. So whether you're on the railway embankment or you're on the main East Coast Road, you'll have a better surface with greater capacity for movement and to reduce travel time. Again, making life better for Guyanese, providing the connectivity, and hopefully new safety for the people. This project also requires the building of a bridge across the Hope Canal in line with the railway embankment alignment. So there will be a new bridge also over the Hope Canal, and I'm sure that you heard that in part of our modernization and transformation, the water from the Hope Canal is going to start being used by Guyana Water to be treated water to get to households. So while the Hope Canal is serving as a drainage structure and flood relief, it is also coming in useful. And there are several other types like that to be done across the country, of which you'll have read in today's paper about. The progress there is at 3.6%, and they're behind in terms of progress. East Coast, East Bank Road Link, which is the 4-lane road from Rupert Craig Highway at Ogle to Eccles. And we are currently, for those who are interested, today, myself and Minister Kroll and my team from the Work Services Group visited the location where we will also be doing a new flyover, which will join from where the new Demerara Harbor Bridge comes in at Peters Hall. There will be a flyover of the new Heroes Highway, and that will be connecting with the road that is being built from Ogle to Eccles, because we're now moving it from Eccles to Providence. We're moving from beyond Eccles to Providence. So when you come from West Demerara, you come straight over the new bridge, and you don't have to come through Georgetown or anywhere. You get a flyover, you cross Heroes Highway, And another 2 kilometers you go down, you'll be connecting directly with that 4-lane road at Ogle, and you'll be able to get all the way up to the quarantine without having to come through all this busyness of Georgetown. And work is ongoing on that. Progress is advancing, and we anticipate that there'll be a speeding up in 2024. But this is one of the better managed projects that we have going on, I need to say that, and it is doing very well. Good success to Timiri. Users of the East Bank, this is especially for you. From Diamond all the way to good success, and I think a good point for us to talk about good success is where the Hindu temple is on the western side of the road when you're going up to the water side. That entire area will be done by the Special Projects Unit of the Ministry of Public Works. A contract has already been awarded for the section from Good Success all the way to Timiri, and that will be funded by the IDB. And we already have a contract in place. So in the very early in the new year, you will see major work. Now, the section that is giving us a real headache, and people complain about, is the Grove area, where we've had the bulges, the holes, and all the rest of it. Well, we have completed the bypass. We can actually dig up that road and start construction, and people will still be able to get about their business. I've asked yesterday afternoon when we held a consultation with the leadership in the area that we put up the signs. If you're heading south by the gas station, you could do a left and you will connect to 3rd Avenue and you'll be able to come out all the way to Busby Dam. You don't have to continue on the East Bank Road. You could get past all of that traffic that you will see. Just do a left at the Guyanese gas station at Diamond, and you could do smooth sailing. I haven't done that Diamond Grove area in a long time since the bypass is completed. The bridges are in place, new paved roads are in place. All people need to do is to see the signs, and that now gives us the opportunity to excavate all the sap, do the sand filling, and put in a road that could take what is required there. And all of you in the media, if you ask what's the problem, you can see what's the problem. It's the western side of the road that is broken up. That's because the laden trucks, whether it's timber, sand, stone, loom, or container traffic coming into the city, and it's the west. So the road wasn't built for that kind of tonnage, and I think its life is long gone. Am I correct, engineers? The life of the road is long gone, so we got to get that done. So this year, you'll see major upgrades here. Linden-Soesdijk Highway. You will see active work on the Linden-Soesdijk Highway, a roundabout being built at the Soesdijk East Bank Junction, and a roundabout at Millie's Hideout Junction, turning into Linden, with a new upgraded road from the Soesdijk all the way into Linden. The loan is already approved. The supervisory contract is in place, and we are in the final procurement stages of the civil works contractor. Belfield to Rossignol. The design consultancy for the design of that upgrade that's going through all the way Region 5 has already been signed, and we'll be able to see that. Stellings. We have 4 major multi-million-dollar projects ongoing in terms of the development of our stellings. The Kingston Goods Wharf, which is 35% completed. The Port Kaituma Stelling, which is 77% completed. The Comaka Stelling, which is 18% completed. And Marijuana Stelling, which is 34% completed. All of these stellings should be completed no later than the 3rd quarter of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen of the media and to the Guyanese public, our materials and soils laboratory have been busy. You know, when people complain the road ain't do good, the concrete weak, the asphalt thin, we have to keep a strong lab that will help us in the designs and will also be able to inspect after the construction. And in this year alone, we have done 1,001 aggregate and soils tests. We have done 9,795 concrete and cement tests. And we have done 205 asphalt and bitumen tests. A total of 19,334 tests that was done at our materials lab right here at the Ministry of Public Works. We applaud them for the work that they're doing, and we hope that we can get more service for better and greater efficiency. We continue to pursue our manifesto promises. We said in our manifesto that we'll expand main roads and other essential infrastructure to accommodate growth and population. I just gave you the report on what we would have done in terms of our road network, and you could see the scope of what is taking place. We said we will do improve community roads and implement urban improvement program in Georgetown and urban areas. In excess of 750 kilometers of community roads have been upgraded in all 10 administrative regions. We said we will provide better drainage to prevent flooding in our communities. In excess of $2 billion was spent on drainage works within the capital city and its environments. And I want us to understand this. Central government, through the Ministry of Public Works, roads and drains, have taken the bulk of the work that needs to be done in the city. We cannot allow the city to remain run down. Mr. Salmon, how many contracts we have right now with drainage and desilting, with small contractors cleaning all those alleyways? Hundreds?
Over 400.
Over 400 contracts. People with buckets, and you see the trucks and the spades going in the manholes. People put concrete, people block up the pave, we have the alleyways. Those are things that should really be done by City Hall. But we said we will do it, and we are doing it. We said we will build a bypass road with connections to Mocha Eccles and the new Demerara River Bridge. Well, you've seen it before your eyes, you're driving on it. We said we will build and maintain 2,000 miles of hinterland roads. We've already passed the 2,000 miles, and we are continuing to do more, surpass, fulfill. We said we will maintain hinterland airstrips and develop Lethem International Port of Entry. Maintenance and rehabilitation works will be completed on 14 airstrips, with works going on 5. We are living true to our promise. The feasibility study designed for the upgrade of the Letton Aerodrome to a regional hub is completed. We said we would expand river transport and improve ferry services. I don't have to tell you about that. We've had the docking of all of our vessels. We have the new MV Militia, and I announced in the National Assembly we were making moves to acquire a new vessel fit for purpose, the Hercules, and we are continuing to look for other vessels. We said we will do a deep water harbor at the Burbage Estuary. The report on the proposed works for Crab Island area is completed, and we should be moving in that direction. We said we will do the Linden to Lethem Road. Works have commenced and is expected to be completed in the second quarter of 2025. I just reported on that. A 4-lane highway from Georgetown to Tamiri. Phase 1 of the project, Ogle to Eccles, have been commenced, and that's to be completed. We're now moving that section on to Providence. The Perica to Rockstone, Del Conte Road links to Bartica. Clearing of the alignment have been completed. Bridge to Quarantine River, I give you a report on that. A high-span bridge across the Demerara River. Works have commenced and is expected to be completed on time in the last quarter of 2024. Duty-free zones. Duty-free zones will be established at Quarantine River Bridge and also the CGIA. We are building out a new commercial building at the new CGIA, which will allow for that. I just went through that to say what we promised the people of Guyana we will do. We have done it. We have done more than what we would have done. And everything that we are doing is linked directly to people. It's one thing to build a fancy structure, but you have to ask yourself, how is this benefiting people? The impact, the benefits, the ease of doing business, the less maintenance in your cars because you're bottoming, grazing in the potholes and the shacks and breaking up because you get better roads. All of that we are doing, and be conscious of when we make the investments through the public works and through our agencies. It's improving the lives of people. I'll pause here and I'll allow for questions. I have my officers here because I'm not the bright one here. I'm just the leader of the team. They will help me with the questions. Thank you. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Shibral.
Sir, could you give us at this stage a preliminary idea of what so far has been found in relation to the helicopter crash? And inclusive of that, can you say whether there has been any word that at the time of the incident that the chopper was transporting an engine to a mining location?
I, as Minister of Public Works, under the Civil Aviation Act of 2018, have fulfilled my obligations in appointing an accident incident investigator. Last week, I approved for that investigator to travel to the United States to transport and deliver to the National Transportation and Safety Board the black box so that the readings of that black box will be able to inform the investigation as it relates to what happened. I've seen correspondence that the investigator is actively pursuing information as it relates to the weather from all of the specialists and the people who are responsible for that kind of a data to inform his investigations. And when his investigations is complete, according to the Act, that report is handed to the Minister. So that is what I will report. As it relates to the second part of the question about the chopper transporting an engine to another location for minor, I have never heard it. I'm unaware of that. We were advised, based upon the flight plan, that the chopper was transporting military personnel and they were doing a command mission.
And can you say, sir, a quick follow-up, can you say why or how or at least two of the occupants managed to escape any life-threatening injuries? How two of the occupants managed to escape life-threatening injuries?
That will come out in the report, sir. We are happy that 2 lived. We expected all to live, sir. I'm happy that at least 2 survived. I wanted all to survive.
Were each one of the second in command was seated in the front in his designated?
I am not the investigator, so I'm not asking those questions to anyone. I have an investigator who's doing that. Yes.
Minister, I have a few questions for you based off your opening statement. First of all, you mentioned the increased number of infrastructure projects. Can you say what systems have been put in place by the ministry to effectively monitor these, ensure that there is, efficacy and whatever? Secondly, you spoke about the additional works, upgrade works to the CGI following its rehabilitation. Can you give us an idea of how much in additional funds were directed there? And finally, for now, we know that there has also been increase in road accidents, damages to public roadways, the infrastructure, and so on. Can you tell us how much financial damage there has been for this year, perhaps, and how these were dealt with by the ministry?
So let's go them one at a time. We're dealing the first one. Systems put in place for better management. Allow my permanent secretary to help, and Mr. Ron Hammond. But I can tell you from up front, more clerk of works, you could give us the actual total, have been hired. We have additional vehicles, at least 15 plus, about an additional 25 vehicles to be used by our engineers. You just heard my report on the lab and the volume of testing that is taking place. So, P.S., anything you want to add on that?
Thank you, Minister. In addition, we have a project management information system that has been built in-house that is used to not only track the projects but also monitor from the point of identification to design and project management execution. So apart from that, Minister sort of alluded to, as we ramp up the number of projects that we are implementing, we've hired additional engineers, we've hired a large number of clerk of work, inclusive of University of Guyana graduates who have finished their 2-year stint, and we put those as technical assistants. So those are some of the mechanisms we put in place to ensure that we have supervision of our projects. Additionally, our testing, field testing, I think the Minister mentioned that we've actually increased our field testing at location and sites. And we are actually in the process of procuring additional equipment for those officers to be supervising projects and testing. Additionally, we have vehicles that we provided for staff. While we'll always need additional vehicles, is something that we're been able to deal with during this year as we ramp up various projects. Some of the funded projects as well would have been able to benefit from supervisory type of activities on their projects as well. So those are just some of the basic activities. And apart from that, last year we've created a monitoring and evaluation department that not only uses our indices and metrics to track the progress of projects, but also to guide the ministry on its main objectives and indicators that we provide for national coverage.
The issues of the CGIA, I think these are questions that I've answered already on every stage of the game. We have a project where we are building out a new airline office complex. A new airline office complex. That's a contract that was awarded. It's not moving as fast as we like to go, but that's a new airline office complex. Secondly, There's a separate project for a new airline for a new airport admin building, so we can move the staff that is currently housed in the airport to a building outside of the airport, so all of that could turn into concessions, spaces for other things to take place in the airport. Because right now the staff, the general manager and all of the staff is in the airport, and that a contract has been also awarded for that. We have done some work on improving taxiway Charlie. Aircraft that comes in drops oil that deteriorates the surface. It is cracked up, and that was not part of the new runway. This is taxiway. There is runway, which was expanded. The taxiway is where the planes have to drive to come into the gates. Taxiway Charlie is under rehabilitation. We have just spoken about the airline baggage system to be able to improve. So these are all capital projects funded by central government and sometimes by the Chenjagan Airport from their revenue as well. So a sum total of what is happening in the airport can be had. The airport has a PRO, they will be able to assist you with that. But these are the bigger things that we are doing. Concerning accidents and damage, it is the policy position. You damage public infrastructure, you have to pay for it. And I'm going to repeat that. You damage public infrastructure, you have to pay for it. We approved painfully, get my PS to help me on this. We had to send to Miami to buy components for the traffic signals. One of those components were about $2.5 million a piece. You know why? If a madman, a drunk man, a careless driver, reckless driver knock down a traffic light, you just see the post bend. And he likes swinging and swinging. But components, electronic components are damaged. We got to get them replaced. And sometimes we don't always have them on hand. Guardrails, where's Kester? He's there?
Yes, I am.
So guardrails we put there to help, to keep people safe on the roads. When people break those guardrails, in his compound over the other day, we had to get him to move it out. How many guardrails you have there? Tons. Tons. You have to remove and replace. People are now hitting down street lights, the lamp poles. I don't know how they get it even in the median to hit those steel poles in the median. Guyanese are very excited people, especially on Friday nights and so on. They become very spirited. I try to be spiritual, but they become spirited. The thing about it, the police is supposed to charge based on the Road Traffic Act. But the ministry needs to be compensated for the damages that were done. In a number of cases, we have gone after those persons, and in some cases things happen. The police didn't even know about the accident because the two people settled up fast and gone, and we are left. But now, with the advent of some of our smart city initiatives of cameras and so on, we're better able to see what is happening. And yes, you've damaged government infrastructure, you got to pay for it.
Okay, did you have the ballpark figure of maybe at least an average of what was damaged this year? And
I won't be able to say that at this time. How much some total about what was damaged? We got to add up all the different components. It's a lot of damages. Accidents.
So we, to give you a ballpark figure, we've documented over 136 accidents where poles have been completely dislocated, lights damaged, etc. And on average, and this is across the country, and on average, we pay between $300,000 and $500,000 to replace, not only just to replace posts, but also for the installation of fresh lights and the connection that has to go with the network that is broken by those accidents.
Was the ministry able to pursue everybody to get compensation?
Yes, we have. There are several. I don't have the exact number, but we have been successful.
The policy position is that your damage you pay.
Once we find you,
Yes.
and we keep hunting them down, we pay. Yes.
Mr. Joe, Anthony,
Name and
Mr. Joe, Anthony Desam, please. I have a question. I'm not sure if you spoke on it. Can you possibly provide an update on the Laguan selling and if the contractor was able to conclude the works?
Civil works and the Laguan stelling is substantially completed. The contractor continues to behave in a certain manner, and as a result of that, there is a position, and he has all of the competence for the Lingspan Bridge to be set up. The Lingspan Bridge is the bridge that is attached to pontoons. When the water goes up and down, the ferry comes in, you'll be able to drive on and drive off. Right, Patrick?
Yes, sir.
I'm no engineer, so I just want to be guided by the people who are engineers and deal with these things. That Lingspan Bridge should be completed by the contractor very early in the new year. We will shake hands, we will smile at each other in love, and the people of Leguan will be able to get their stelling after all the trials and tribulations that we have gone through. Thank you, sir.
All right, and just a follow-up question. You would have mentioned that the Denham Bridge was
The Lady Denham
The
Bridge.
Lady Denham Bridge was destroyed. The contractor who would have done the works, would there be any disciplinary actions?
The persons who damage it,
I'm talking about the individual.
the people who damage the bridge, once we find them, yes, that's what the PS is talking about.
All right.
Good.
And the contractors.
Look, yesterday morning I'm coming to office. A contractor that is assigned to do drainage work in the Kingston area, right between the Ministry of Finance and GCOM, is walking his excavator without mats on the asphaltic road. So I stopped and said, you can't do this. You know what's the bottom line? He has a canter with his mats. But it takes too long in the traffic to put on mats and pick up mats. He knows what he has to do. But when you put those wheels on an asphaltic concrete road, one of my engineers, tell the people what's happening, because me no engineer. Tell them what's happening. Look, you got a lady engineer telling you what's happening. Once a done and once a broke up, what's the next one? Destroy. And I got Mr. Colin Gittins paving roads in Kingston from the Special Projects Unit to give people better roads. And a man is walking his machine on a nice asphaltic surface. He's getting paid to clean the drains. He can't come on the road. He just concerned about getting up fast, getting money and go home. That kind of recklessness must come to an end. And I'm encouraging people, whenever they see those things, photograph it and send it to us. We will go after them and damage the road. And pay for that. They have to pay for the damage of the road. Small contractors are building community streets and want to carry in weight, 80 tons at a time for a little community street. They're building a back street, but they're concerned that they break in for a street to go to the back street. We have to address these issues. We have to create a new culture. Container trucks in various parts of the world do not go into certain streets. You park and destuff the canters to get to your business. A man going home to visit his wife with a trailer load of logs, and he want park on the main road and walk, and he driving the community road, broke up the hedges and everything. We got to bring that to an end. Yes, next person. Yes.
Parkinson here, and when it said, one of the things that we frequently ask is when it comes to the Kingston seawall, can you say for 2024, how is it that you're going to deal with that issue? With the vendors there, and of course, the way in which the place is being kept.
All right. Kevin Samad, who is the head of my Siem River Defense Department, deals directly with the Kingston seawall. But I can tell you, last year we had to remove 17 pit latrines from the Kingston seawall.
Well, that was recent.
I say last year, right? I done in 2024. In 2023, sorry, I beg pardon. This year, 2023, somehow I'm thinking 2024. 17 pit latrines. Somebody don't want to pay for a service. So they build zinc and pit latrines and people doing everything right there. Everybody who's on the Kingston seawall is supposed to be mobile. At any time you must move. That's their letter of permit to operate says that. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah.
We had to go out there, the Kingston seawall, and move people from the edge of the road so many feet in. Because while you vend, traffic must continue to flow. But you know what happens? The moment you turn your back, and we got to keep going away, and then if you move these people, you will be reporting in the media, them crying, saying, I'm a single mom, and he taking bread out my mouth. Y'all know the story, right? We've had to move caravans. You can imagine we building new roads and highways. And right at a major turn, a man will come and park a caravan to sell at night or a day. We're trying to improve traffic flow. We have a pharmacy in custody right now, right? Where's Kessler? We still have the pharmacy in custody? A whole pharmacy. A whole big long trail of pharmacies in custody. We arrested it a few days ago. Listen, the First Lady has done well. We, the Ministry of Public Works, have lent all the support that we can possibly give to her initiatives across the country of beautifying Guyana. When we opened the Kingston area, I said the President has a fantastic vision of building and modernizing Guyana, but his wife has done well with her vision of beautifying Guyana. We would like everywhere on the Kingston seawall where we will allow vending to look and resemble the class, elegance, and status of what we have there in the bandstand area. Designated play areas for children, parking, washroom facilities. But Guyana is a developing place. And sometimes you have to limp along. And we're not insensitive to people's concerns about small business development, but we have to keep a strong line because some people have now gone to the point where they want to cast a base. They're putting up steel structure. And I can say publicly, the instructions that we have to the engineers, Kuraka Works, and all the management of the Ministry of Public Works, the same day an unauthorized vendor comes out, the same day they must be removed. The same day a caravan comes out, the same day we remove it. The moment you leave people for 1 day or 2 weeks, they figure they have the rights of ownership, and then it becomes difficult. And we're going to be stepping up on that. We don't want to kill small business. But who say that you have to do your business in the areas where you want to do it? You can get it fixed. And we got to work with people to get it fixed. We are providing opportunities. Government is giving out small business grants. Buy a nice car or a cart. Put your products in, drive, park, sell, go home. Clean up after. Get a nice little canter, put your windows and so on. Sell your hot dogs. When the night come, go and park in your yard. No, we can't allow this country to be a shanty town. Guyana is too beautiful to be a shanty town. And I'm sure all of you here agree with me on that particular point. We got to work together on it. And at the same time, we got to allow people to grow. And we're helping them along. Yes, sir.
Minister, through to Mr. Thomas of Marriott. Sir, could you say what has been the annual revenue by Marriott that is directly attributed to supply vessels and exploration and exploitation vessels in the oil and gas sector? And secondly, do you know if the notice has been issued to mariners concerning the presence of the UK patrol vessel in Guyanese waters, and what is the duration of that notice?
I will deal with one of the UK vessel in Guyana waters, because I'm the minister. And that is not an approval that is granted by Marine. That operates at a different level. The UK patrol or the UK vessel visiting and in Guyana's waters is no risk to any mariner, any neighboring country, or anyone operating in the EZ. This is part of a normal country-to-country collaboration. Things like that, when it's Chile, Mexico, where is BG?
I'm actually Minister. Right.
US, vessels come here all the time. French. So I just making that, and that is permission that is handled by the executive through the foreign channels. It's not a permission by Marine. And they pose no risk to anyone.
The vessel is already here.
Permission for the vessel to be here has been granted, sir.
And in terms of the revenue impact of the oil and gas sector, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, Mr. I don't have the figure in terms of numbers, but it's relatively substantial. But I said I don't have. I have to take some time to go through the reference. But I don't have it. It's a few $100 million annually.
That's Guyana dollars?
Guyana dollars, correct. Yeah.
Can I check with you?
Sure. First working day. Yeah.
Thank you.
I will ask Ms. Valenzuela to make the reports that I read from all of the various agencies, soft copy available by email to everybody who attended, so you could go through that and get some, because I did not go through everything. So you'll be able to help with your stories and helping us to disseminate the information. Yes, next person.
Minister Jill, I have one question directed to the Permanent Secretary. Sir, if you can recollect at the Public Accounts Committee, you remember that the company Area Constructora, the Brazilian company, whereas GGMC will issue the seeds order for them to start the mining of laterite, right? I just wanted to know, just to bring to your attention, sir, that I was reliably informed that the company has restarted construction even though GGMC will issue the cease order. I wanted to know if you were aware of that, sir.
I would, Heidi, you have any update on that? Ms. Gillett, Heidi Gillett is the project engineer that is managing that project.
What we understand that they have applied to a local partner, GGMC, for a license, and they indicate that they will be issued that license shortly.
Okay. And against that backdrop, they will be able to recommence works on the project.
There was no reason for work to stop on the project. Laterite, loam, sand, stone is to be procured from wherever it's available, not one particular place. So they can't use that as an excuse.
Okay, sir.
Good.
They have several areas along the road that they can use for mining purposes.
Okay, thank you.
But I just want before I give you a second pass, if anybody has needed a first pass. Yes, well, there you could go. Nobody indicated.
All right. Sir, from our interactions with people in various communities, they're concerned about the rising sea levels as a result of the ongoing oil and gas operations. They're worried about how they can be impacted and so on. Given that a lot of
The oil and gas operations is causing rising sea levels in Guyana.
this is some of the concerns we are hearing. I'm not
Well,
saying
then let's deal with factual things at the press conference. I don't want to deal with assumptions.
Sir, my question.
That's a science.
My question to you is, given that a lot of the waterfront spaces are being used for support services to the sector and for other purposes, can you say what alternatives are being implemented? That's my first question. Secondly, I'm not sure if this is from Marid, but I wanted to know if fishermen have complained. We've seen some notices about fishermen being informed not to ply their trade in certain areas. So I wanted to know if they have complained formally to Marid or whichever is the agency responsible about them being prevented from utilizing their traditional grounds due to the oil and gas sector. And yeah, okay.
I will ask Marin to talk about notice to mariners of where people can travel and why. They will deal with that. As it relates to development of waterside lands, nobody in Guyana can develop a wharf, a shore base, or any facility without the express permission of the Sea and River Defense Board. The Sea and River Defense Board comprises of CHPA, Environmental Protection Agency, MARAD, help me with the agencies.
EPA.
They said the EPA already.
Lands and surveys.
Lands and Surveys, all the agencies.
And reps from all the coastal regions.
Reps from all the coastal regions. It's an all-encompassing board. So whether somebody wants to develop the Pomeroon, the Demerara, Borbis, an application has to be made. They have to satisfy requirements. If they want to build something, the designs have to be submitted. It has to be approved, song engineering, and all the rest of it. So nobody could just say, I'm doing something. And whenever there have been such cases, we've shut them down. And we've had a few who figure that they don't need to follow the rules, and we have shut them down. The Sea and River Defense Board is here to facilitate development. And I want to say that again. We're not here to stop development. They're here to facilitate. We want to facilitate. But development must be done in a structured way with proper policy direction and ensuring that while you're developing, you're not destroying the life and livelihoods of others. Notice the mariners and fishermen.
Thank you, Minister. Yes, Ms. Bagot, with respect to the effect of the offshore operation having on fishermen, before any operation takes place, they have to do that has the potential impact in any activity, fishermen, marine traffic, etc. They have to do an environmental impact assessment and inventory of all the fishermen if they would potentially be affected, which they do. And like for the gas energy project where the pipelines are offshore between the Demerara and the Scribble River mouth, they did an inventory of all the fishermen, all that were affected, and they were taken care of. We haven't gotten any report that they are unhappy.
Okay, outside of that, did you receive any other complaints from fishermen who have been informed that they can't apply their trade in these traditional grounds and they're maybe disgruntled or so?
No, I've been not aware of that. One of the challenges with this, some fishermen would venture out into areas that we don't, like in the navigable channels where we don't want them to go. So occasionally we have to go, this not to do oil and gas, strictly on a navigation basis to remove the fish pens that they would have blocking the channels.
You can't block the channel. You can't do what's easy to make money and destroy the prospects of other people operating. And if one of those nets tangle up in a man's boat, we're talking here life, dangerous to life. So Marin has to ensure that people are in compliance. Yes, so that's it.
I have another question, but there's no one.
Well, we can't keep going forever. Culture News is available to this ministry all the time.
Would you take two more?
Well, quickly, if they're relevant to the press conference today.
Yes. I was hoping you could provide, you spoke about the hinterland roads that were developed and the airstrips, but you did not give specifics as to the sums that were spent on those infrastructure projects. Can you perhaps...
Those are things that are reported in the media all the time.
But,
Contract
sir,
signed for Purima
no,
Airstrip.
sir, you are
Contract
here today
signed.
to give an update on what has been done for the year, so this is why I'm asking what.
Okay, you want to know how much is spent so far? We could get that to you through the Interland Airstrip Engineer or the PS. You can get it. Go on. Yes. Yes, if you want to know exactly what is spent so far, what is remaining. And the other question?
Yes, it's related to the Demerara Harbor Bridge. You spoke about the expenses to the boys and the other stuff. Can you say if the bridge is self-sufficient? Is it earning enough to take care of all those expenses, or it's government?
Mr. Watson, explain to them what percentage of expenditure with those maintenance will come from the bridge and what comes from government.
So, thank you, Minister. So, the expenditure incurred at the Demerara Bridge is 2 weeks. One, you have government subventions, which take care of all the major, those are the multi-million-dollar contracts, right? For this year, we in the vicinity about close to $1 billion. And then the in-house, like the boys, the in-house maintenance, the preparation of the boys, and all the work that relative to the deck plates, rehabilitations, and those are done in-house. So you have about a 60-40. So the multi-million-dollar contracts are government subventions, and the other projects. Are you aware that the toll government has not increased their average toll? Average tolling for a 18-ton truck is about $700 compared to Warp's Bridge, and a car is $200. So you can imagine, Minister spoke about the volume of vehicle, but then also the toll is very low. So we heavily rely on government for those multi-million-dollar rehabilitations.
All right, so let me just say the Demerara Harbor Bridge has lent support to the Barbies Bridge in terms of fixing it back when we had an accident there with a tug and barge. We have lent support to the Transport and Harbors Department in fixing the link span bridges at the Stellings, at Purika and Supernam, and they've also lent support to the aquapanel bridges that we have on the railway embankment, and I think one at the Lamaha Park. So the Demerara Harbor Bridge has been doing a tremendous amount of work beyond the bridge in helping other agencies because of the expertise that is existing in-house to support and to ensure safety, efficiency, and everybody's participation.
Mr. Minister, quickly, could you say in relation to the new Demerara Harbor Bridge, what does the contract say about the employment of Guyanese, the number of Guyanese as opposed to the Chinese? And are you complying with the contract?
I don't know if there's a number of Guyanese. I know there are skills to be recruited. Where's Mr. Thompson? We don't have any complaint about non-compliance with the terms of the contract where employment is concerned. The contractor is allowed to bring his skilled engineers and so on, and we have been facilitating them with their visas and travel for the particular periods that they need to be here. In terms of the employment of local people, I don't think there is a figure that says you have to employ so many people. It has to do with what are the skills available here that they recruit from. The important thing is they got to deliver the bridge, and they have to deliver it by a particular time. And if they don't deliver it by that time, they have penalties every day for non-delivery. So, Patrick, you want to help? Is there a number in the contract of Guyanese to be employed by the new Demerara River Bridge?
30% of the labor force should be
Local, 30%. Is there any complaint that we are not meeting there?
I think we exceeded 30%.
Okay. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Good. Thank
No, wait. Minister, just one of the heads, one of the heads, yeah, the heads, yes, no, yeah.